Hi there, this is Sheri Lee Myers. Welcome to How to Connect with Angels. We believe that no matter what, every person has the unconditional love and help of angels, our messengers from God. But we have to be willing to believe, and we have to be willing to ask. That's what our film, The Glitch, that we are shooting here in New Orleans is all about, with the help of some amazing music and talent. If you're curious, visit us at theglitchmovie.com and take a look. But now, right now, let's talk to someone who's devoted to helping us make a divine connection. Karen Riordan Palmer combines ancient wisdom, technology, and modern science to help make our world a better place. She is the successful leader of Echo Angel Enterprises, a self-worth visibility coach, a game designer, an animal and angel communicator, as well as a Kundalini yoga and mindfulness meditation instructor. Karen is also an angelic marketing and social media strategist who helps dreamers, visionaries, change agents, and peacemakers find their voice and share their message and gifts globally. Karen Riordan Palmer is the founder of #GlobalKindnessRevolution, which is one of the top hashtags being used in social media. Last but not least, she is the co-founder of Global Peace United. Karen Riordan Palmer, you are the driving force behind the Global Kindness Revolution. Can I say that?
I am.
Yes. Okay. And I started to screech. I am so in awe of what you're doing. We're going to get to that global movement that you're directing that is expanding. I'm not going to say exploding, expanding exponentially because the time is right. But Karen Riordan Palmer, your personal story of how you got started on your path to working with angels and bringing the divine to everyone, everywhere through global kindness. Please, let's just pour it out, babe. Tell us about you.
You know, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I came into this world wide awake. So I was completely clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and cognizant. So claircognizant means that you just have a knowing. And I chose to come into a family that my parents loved me and my sister very much, but they were not in love, and they fought, and they got divorced when I was 10 years old. This led me down the road to questioning my gifts, and really using the angels as an escape. It became an escape for me, and I was grateful because my angels would tell me, you have a big purpose, darling. You are here for a very big purpose, and just stay true to yourself and stay true to who you are. That was when I started hearing animals. That was when I started having telepathic gifts where I was able to hear the animals. And
Can you tell us about your first experience? Do you remember that?
I do. I actually do remember that.
Okay, what was it? What happened?
I think it was yesterday.
Oh, great.
Then my mom was going back to work, and we had a local neighbor who was babysitting my sister and I. And they had a farm, and they had a horse that was on the farm. And I didn't really have a lot of relationships with animals because we didn't have animals at my house. And so, but I had been getting the messages from my angels explaining that I had incredible gifts that were going to be helping the entire world. That I was, and here I was just like a little girl, just not knowing what the heck was happening. I thought everyone talked to angels. I thought everyone had these gifts. Wow. So when I would talk to my mom and my dad about it, I was raised Roman Catholic. And so they would explain that I didn't need to tell anybody about those invisible friends. I didn't need to talk about my invisible friends. And I wasn't encouraged to continue the relationships. They were both very confused, but it was perfect because really they were the perfect example of what I needed in order to find my strength within. So the story continues. There's a beautiful story here that continues. And it's going to sound very sad and it's going to sound very confusing, but I want you to really, as you listen, I want you to think about how your life parallels with this and how, as you hear the story, maybe you had animal gifts. Maybe you as a child were able, because the angels explained to me that we all come in with special gifts. We all come in, and I was just a person who chose. I'm a very old soul. I've been here many, many times. I've been, in experiences where I've helped animals and children. And this is the lifetime. They explained to me that this was the lifetime that I would be appreciated for my gifts, and that I would, because I've been tortured and I've been, scared through all of these, navigations through learning about. So anyway, I attracted, I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that the law of attraction is a real law. I believe that it is just as well as the law of gravity. And I believe that my belief at that time when my parents divorced, no fault of theirs at all, but when my parents divorced, I believed that it was my fault. I could have done better in school. I never was enough. I couldn't possibly keep my room clean enough. I was always getting into trouble. I was always irritating people. And so I took that new role and I started to go away from the angels. I went away. The angels were always with me, but I started to go away. The more I believed the outside noise that was happening in my head, the more, that's when the ego starts to edge God out. And that's when the ego starts to edge the angels out, And so when we start to pay attention to listening to outside, that's how I got into drugs. I started drinking and doing drugs when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
So I ended up starting to skip school, and I started to get in with other kids who were skipping school. And I found that alcohol really quieted my gifts, and it made it so that I was normal, like I was everybody else. And I wanted more than anything to just kind of fit in. At that point, when you're a teenager, I was going, into my teens. By 12, I was, really getting into losing myself. And anyway, by the time I was 15, I had attracted a relationship with a boy who had witnessed his parents, where his dad pulled a gun on his mom, and we just kind of gravitated toward each other. We were the perfect attraction at that point, because I believed that I deserved that crap. And I just started to see more and more evidence of it. And the more I believed it, the more evidence the universe would show me. And I didn't realize at the time, I didn't know about the universal laws. So I didn't realize what I was experiencing. So I, blamed him and allowed this relationship to go. I was in a very abusive relationship from when I was 15 until I was 21. So for 6 years, I suffered in silence. He was an atheist. He didn't believe in angels or God. And his dad was very, very abusive to him and to me. His dad never hit me, but his dad was very emotionally abusive. Like, who is she? Like, she thinks she can talk to angels. Let's see her prove it, And so I started to, really doubt my gifts, and I started to really. I spiraled down. I spiraled out into, self-sabotage. I stopped letting other people sabotage me, and I started sabotaging me. I became anorexic. I was bulimic. I was making myself sick. I was, trying to be what I thought everybody wanted me to be. And it really helped, that I still had that slight connection. I would disappear up into the mountains, and I would disappear over to places where I would just connect with the angels, and they would still say, you still have a big job. You still have a purpose. Please invite us in. Please ask us for help. And so, I started to allow them back in a little bit, but I still felt like, I got this. I can handle it. I'm going to just stop letting people think, I'm not going to tell people I have this relationship with angels. I'm not going to tell people I can hear animals. I'm just going to keep this to myself. And so anyway, that's how that ended up. And the way that it ended up was I was engaged to be married to this man. I had become a coke addict. I was a cocaine addict. I couldn't barely get out of bed without having the mirror on the side of my nightstand. I had become very, very ill. And my family didn't know that I had gotten so bad. I was keeping everything from everybody. I was trying to, suppress it. I was lying and denying it to myself. And anyway, it really got bad. And I was in the hospital. I had broken ribs. I had black eyes. I had a bleeding ulcer. And I knew that this was it, like, I'm going to marry this person. I don't know. This doesn't feel right. I think not. So my beautiful grandmother intervened. I believe it was divine intervention. I truly believe it was divine intervention. I really believe that she is one of my earth angels. And so the story continues. It's a beautiful story. She came and visited me at the hospital. The nurses were so loving and so kind. And people knew I had been, abused. And I was lying. And I was saying, I walked into a wall. I'm always, and they were saying, a bleeding ulcer, Karen, you're only 21 years old. There's no need for you to have a bleeding ulcer.
Right.
What's going on? And I said, oh no, I'm happy. Everything's good. Are you making yourself throw up? No, I don't make myself. I don't do that. I would never do that. I'm a good girl. I was always trying to prove to everybody I was a good girl. I'm a good girl.
Right.
I'm a good girl. I'm worthy. So it's interesting, I really believe this is all part of my journey. This was all part as these beautiful, kind strangers started to see my beauty and see my magnificence and see what the angels saw in me and what the animals saw in me. I started to want to see it in me too. I was like, well, and then my grandmother came to the hospital and she said, okay, this is enough. This is enough. I want to take you away for the weekend. And if you decide to marry him after this weekend, then I will support you. But I want to talk to you this weekend. I want to take you away. So we lived in Massachusetts at the time. And we went up to Bar Harbor in Maine, a beautiful cottage. And I felt so peaceful. I felt like I could hear the angels. I felt like I could be still. I could tell her everything. And she, and she knew I had these angel gifts, and she had these gifts too. And she encouraged me, and she said, let's talk about this. So anyway, he ended up finding where we were and drove up there drunk and threw a rock through the window, and we had to call the police. And this was when my grandma said, I'll never forget it. I was holding a cup of tea, and she looked me right in the eyes and she said, you deserve a beautiful life. And something awoke in me. Something reminded me that was the truth. And I dropped the glass. I dropped the teacup. Wow. It smashed at that moment. And I put my hand to my heart and I said, you're right. Mm. And in that moment, I decided to he had been arrested. He was in jail. I decided to just let it all go. I shared every minute and every fear and every doubt and every insecurity I ever felt. I shared with her. Mm-hmm. And she held my hands and she said, you're magnificent. You're beautiful. You have so much beauty and so much love to share. And she said, I'm going to tell you something that you've never known before. And I said, okay. She said, your grandfather, who you know as your grandfather, is not your grandfather. I've been remarried. My first husband was very abusive. Oh. And I had to leave the church, and I was excommunicated from the church. And so I never told you about this. Wow. And so the cycle, you see how the cycle,
yes.
So the cycle continued. And so anyway, when I canceled the wedding. Great story here.
Yeah. Yes. And then you took a trip.
I took a trip, and we had already paid for the honeymoon. And so I was going to fly out to Arizona, and then we were going to rent a car and drive to Vegas and then to California. So I took my sister on my honeymoon.
Oh,
and
nice.
We had the best time, and we made a pinky promise. And we said, when we got to California, both of us, our hearts just opened up and we were like, I want to live here. I want to live in California. Mm-hmm. So we made a pinky promise and we said, I'm going to make this happen. And in a year, we saved up enough money and we both moved out to California together. Now she lives around the corner from me today.
Really?
She's a guidance counselor at a local high school, and she's the most wonderful person. I take care of her dog for her. And so anyway, we took this trip, and I was like this free bird, I was finally free. And I thought I had left all of this behind me, And on that vacation I did. But when I moved back to California, you can't not carry your baggage with you, even if you think you've gone 3,000 miles. Because that baggage is part of your healing process. And if you pretend that you don't have baggage, which is what I tried to do, I came to California and I had all my dreams coming true, and I was going to be a game designer, and I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And I was not going to let anybody ever hurt me again, and and all that. And I told myself that was never going to happen. Well, the truth is, when you blame somebody else for your beliefs, you are going to have experiences that are going to help you to remember that blame and shame are not going to be the answer to your. So anyway,
healing your hurt. You can't heal your hurt.
It doesn't heal. You have to feel in order to heal.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes.
You have to feel in order to heal.
Okay. So we're talking specifically about the emotional baggage you bring from having been in an abusive relationship, and no, that's not there presently in your life, but there you are in California, and
Sheri, I had post-traumatic stress. I was like this. I could not, I suffered in silence for so many years. I would not let anybody into my heart. I would not let anybody in. I was terrified of people, and I had incredible trust issues. But I put on a smile and I pretend that I didn't have any issues at all. And I ended up homeless. I ended up sabotaging every possible relationship. I ended up back in another abusive relationship. I ended up back using drugs again. I ended up, everything just kind of spiraled back into nobody. It was nobody. And this time I had nobody to blame, but to take responsibility. And it's not about being blamed. It's about the ability to respond. When I started to look at my role in this, I was like, okay, I can't blame anybody else right now. There's something going on here. So I adopted a puppy because I knew that I needed to open my heart in some way. I needed to trust again, and I needed to have a friend. And all I wanted was a friend that I could talk to and that I could connect with. And so I adopted this beautiful dog named Lucky, and her name is my lucky girl. And I had her for 18 years and 2 months in the physical. And she guides me to this moment right here where I'm speaking to the animals that I can help. And that's how I started the Puppy Love Revolution also, which we'll talk about as everything started to grow with the global kindness. But the global kindness revolution really started, as you can see, because I needed kindness in my life. And I needed to be that kindness. I really needed to witness the experiences. So as this kind of, I was homeless. I lived out of my car. I had my dog. It was me and a little Hyundai and my dog, and we lived out of my car. Now, this was after I had already accomplished what I thought was my big success. I had designed a board game. My board game that I designed, Let's Save Our Earth, I had found a toy company that I loved and that loved me, and they wanted to do eco-friendly toys. And my friend who was the producer, he was the founder of Color Forms.
Wow.
And yeah, so he was a millionaire. And when I met him, we had these beautiful visions together, and all he wanted to do was give back to, and unfortunately, his sons, who did not agree, wanted to prove that he was insane, and it ended up going bankrupt. The Color Forms went bankrupt. And I had gone to New York for the International Toy Fair. I was being limoed around. I was staying in the Mayflower, and I was staying in these beautiful hotels. And it was like, yes, Karen, you've made it. You've done it. You've done it, and it was like, oh, and you finally have proven yourself, and now people can see that you really are something special, And so it was interesting because it went from that to I came back and had no home. I had no place to live. My sister had an apartment, but I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want my family to know. So I was lying to everybody, telling everybody that I was still staying in a beautiful guest house in Montecito, and that everything was perfect. And I was,
God.
God. Yeah, I was. Yeah, but the cool thing was, Sheri.
I know, there's a cool part. Go.
The cool thing was, that was when I learned about global kindness, and when I learned about abundance mindset, because I was reading 3 books. I was reading Wayne Dyer's book, You'll See It When You Believe It, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah. So I was visualizing And I started reading. It was a really powerful moment for me. I'll never forget this moment. And I know that Wayne Dyer, even when he was in his physical form, we had a connection. I never met him physically, but he's one of my guides on the Council of Kindness. And he has been, I'll tell you more about that, but he has been guiding me to incredible people that are still here that he wants me to continue his message. And so I've been, really blown away by the orchestration and choreography. But I was reading his book and I read this line. It was Albert Einstein. The most important question you can ask yourself is, do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? That hit me like a ton of bricks, because I thought everybody was against me. And I thought, the only, person that I was able to really ever talk to about my gifts and stuff was my grandmother and my other grandmother, my meme. And I felt like, it felt like the world was against me. And I started to see that was my belief, and that was what the universe was showing me. And when I read that book, and coupled with Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, I realized that I had dysfunctional relationships and that I had been repeating the cycle of what I had seen, and that these were just patterns. So I could change that. That gave me like so much freedom. And I was so excited as I read that. Yeah. And then I started reading about the burning desire that, was in the Think and Grow Rich. And my burning desire was to help children and animals. That had always been my burning desire. So I started to just apply what I was reading to my regular day-to-day life.
For example, yes. Tell me.
For example, I started to ask myself, is it a friendly universe? How can I see this as a more friendly universe? So I started to say, okay, universe, why don't you show me that you're friendly? And strangers started coming to me and my dog and bringing food for us on the beach. I was living on the beach. This wonderful couple started coming up and asking me questions, and how did I end up here, and what was going on? And, they loved Lucky because she was just a puppy then. And she attracted everybody. She taught me how to go from self-loathing to self-loving. She has been my guiding force and has guided my footsteps all through, right to my husband. I've been happily married for 23 years. I have a beautiful 21-year-old daughter.
Yes, you do.
And I live the dream life that I visualize. So that's what I started doing. Every day I started visualizing kind people coming to me, finding the perfect house, finding the perfect job, being able to, so they gave me a job. This couple gave me a job, got me off the streets, let me bring my dog onto their patio while I was waiting tables. I saved up enough money so that I could move back to where my sister lived. My sister didn't know this. I didn't tell her until afterwards. She read my book, of course, and my mom read my book. And they were like, what? You were homeless? What are you talking about? And I never let anybody know because I was so embarrassed.
Sure.
But now I know that was the start of global kindness going viral. That was the start of the global kindness revolution, because I have empathy for homeless people. I know what it feels like. And all I ever wanted was somebody to sit down and have a half a sandwich with me and ask me about my story. Oh. So I do that now with homeless people, and I feature people on my show that help homeless people. I feature everybody that I can find that is doing good things on the Globally Good show, that I'm the host now. And it's crazy to think that I'm the host of a top talk show when I had suffered in silence for so many years. And this was the angels. The angels told me I would be doing all of this. Back in 2014. So so I got off the streets. I ended up I'm happily married. I met my husband. I went on a date. My dog led us to each other. My dog and my dog helped me to trust men again. And I've been so happy. But after that, fast forward, my husband took me for my birthday to Las Vegas. And we actually renewed our wedding vows with Elvis at the Graceland Chapel.
Oh.
And I got to have Elvis walk me down the aisle singing I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and which was like a dream come true.
Oh.
And my husband on my birthday flew my best friend from Massachusetts out to Las Vegas, and my sister drove out from California. And we were all in this beautiful hotel, the New York, and we were in this beautiful restaurant. We had just had a wonderful meal, and they brought me a cake, and they said, "Make a wish, Karen. It's your birthday. Make a wish." And I was like, I started crying. I was like,
Oh.
I'm so grateful. I'm living the life that I dreamt of when I was sitting in that Hyundai reading these 3 books and learning how to visualize and learning how to use the universal laws and really use my connection with my angels and really learn how to connect with the invisibles and the connections that I had. So I made my wish that global kindness go viral. And I blew the candle out. And everybody was like, "Oh, Karen, you always have this sweetest wishes. And you have such big, big visions." And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. I'm going to help global kindness go viral. And I didn't know how, but I had to let go of the how and be ready for the wow.
Wow.
And that's the secret. Like, that's the secret to the success, was letting go of the how and expecting the big wow. And really,
being the wow. And being
yeah,
the wow.
being the wow.
Oh my God. There's so much around your story that
Everyone can relate to, right?
There's so much around your story. So there's so much leadership that you are showing that comes out of this. Now, let's talk about what you do as a healer. Let's talk about that work. Do you mind? Because I want to talk about global kindness as part of the revolution, but there's a healing aspect, obviously, because you were inspired to be kind. You showed kindness. Let's talk about that. Okay.
So I got certified to be an NLP practitioner just by healing myself and working with my own inner child. I also got certified in going into the Akashic Records. So I'm a certified Akashic Records reader. So I was able to go into my own Akashic Records and see what I had chosen, how I had chosen this experience. I was terrified of public speaking. I was terrified because I used to get smacked when I would say something that was out of line. And so I was, I started with a small talk show, a radio show called Positively Pets. And that grew to this huge following of people who really resonated with the message, and other animal communicators contacted me, and we just started this beautiful puppy love revolution. So that was to just keep it going in the direction of where it was going, I got certified in Reiki. I got certified in Time Heals with Terry later.
Right.
But all of this was stuff that I had done in the Akashic Records. So, I got certified in all of these modalities, but I had been doing them for many, many lifetimes, many, many life experiences. And so, the angels I started astral traveling. That's when the Council of Kindness started coming to me. That was in 2014.
Let's talk more detail about that, please. What was that experience like? All about that.
So the Council of Kindness is a collective of group of souls that are non-physical teachers who were famous in their most recent experiences. George Harrison, John Lennon, Wayne Dyer is one, Princess Diana, Maya Angelou. And so I started receiving messages from the Council of Kindness. There's a whole list. Carrie Fisher was one of them. Debbie Fisher. They all started coming to me during my astral travel, and I know that was from the wish. When I made the wish, that set into motion the opportunity for them to step in and start reaching into my astral time, because I had made the wish. And that's what the angels explained to me. They said, Karen, you have a gift. And when you ask for help, we will be there and we will help you and we will orchestrate and we will choreograph all the outside circumstances so that you just need to show up. And that's been the truth. I mean, Wayne Dyer, when he left his physical body and started coming to me, he led me to his daughter, Sky Dyer. He led me to James Twyman. He led me to his producer, Diane Ray, on Hay House Radio. All of these people are part of the Global Peace United, which grew from Global Kindness Revolution. Like I said, the expansion, we started a Global Peace United. Martin Luther King Jr. came to me in an astral experience and asked me to start Global Peace Day, which was on his birthday. We did that I did that all by myself in 2015. And then my friend Astra contacted me and said, let's be partners. I can do the business end. And, so I can help you with the website and we can get this going. And so we ended up starting the globalpeace.earth website. And we also started the New Earth Business Academy, where we train other earth angels and we train other people how to use business, how to use their business consciously. So we started that back in 2015 together.
And everyone can find this on which website?
We have the globalpeace.earth, and then we also have newearthbusiness.com.
Okay, so anyone who really wants to grow their business consciously and avail themselves of that extraordinary gift you have with social media and promotion.
I'm the visibility piece of this, and Astra is the abundance, prosperity, and business end. And together we are the dynamic duo. And I love her with all my heart and soul, because and I feel like we were attracted. She said the same thing. She has been getting messages from the Council of Kindness. Terry Miller had been getting messages from angel speakers. You can also, I'm also partners with her on angelspeakers.com. And we have a wonderful membership that we do that's called the Angel Playground. And that's $15 a month. And you can go to angelspeakers.com workshops/workshops. And Terry and I together have created this beautiful membership to help angelic messengers to really just be inspired and playful and have fun together and expand. And each month we have this is Joyful June. So I teach you how to be more joyful and how to bring more joy into your business, into your life, into your family. So that these are all, parts of my spiritual gifts that I've been able to monetize and turn into businesses.
Wonderful.
Through the Global Kindness Revolution, I have published 3 books. My first book was Dogs Are Gifts from God. That was dedicated to my grandmother. And that was my learning how to go from self-loathing to self-loving through the love of a puppy. And that was my lucky girl. That's the true story of, and I basically, every chapter I teach about how all of our animals have specific spiritual lessons to teach us. Our cats, our dogs, our domesticated animals have been guided to us for a specific spiritual lesson, whether they're with you for a month, a week, an hour, it doesn't matter. They're there for a spiritual lesson. And if you go back and you start to look at the animals in your life, like as I started, like, oh, we got back to that horse. I got off the subject. In the very beginning, we talked about the horse.
Yes.
I put my hand up to touch the horse. This was my first experience with knowing that I had telepathy.
How great you came back to that. Thank you. Go ahead.
I didn't know exactly what that meant, telepathy, of course, at the time, but I put my hand up to pet the horse, and I heard the horse say, "Oh, sweetheart, that feels so nice." And I felt that energy, and I felt that connection. And I knew that it was something that I was really, really feeling in my heart and in my soul, and that it was something that was really, really special. And at that point, I was young enough, and I was still talking to the angels. So I went up to my special spot, and I asked the angels, "What is that? What is that when I connect with connect with the animals the way I connect with you, and I can hear them?" And they said, "Oh, everyone has telepathy. It's a gift that you're born with, but many people lose that gift because they don't believe that they have it. Karen, always believe in your gifts, and you will always have them." That's what they said to me. Always believe in your gifts, and you will always have them. But as you go down the road, this is why Terry and I and Astra and I became partners, because we want to give navigation skills to the people, because we are stepping into the new earth. There's no question about it. We are in the fifth dimension. We have these experiences. This is why this is possible for Global Kindness to go viral. That's why Global Peace United has happened. It's why, I'm able to go to the astral planes and connect because I go to the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimensions, and I'm able to actually see without judgment. I can be part of the solution, as like James Twyman, who is, the art of spiritual peacemaking. Do you love him?
Yeah.
I love
all
him.
About spiritual peacemaking. Thank you. Yes.
I love him so much that I started doing his music lessons on my I'm the host on Periscope on Love in Action TV, which is one of the top Periscope channels on social media for Twitter and Periscope.
And once again, everyone, you will find it on our page. Just the links are on the page, but give it to us again.
It's Periscope.tv /Love in Action TV.
And what happens?
That's my dear friend, Max Ryan Coach. He started the Love in Action TV, and he has been an incredible piece in this wonderful orchestration. That's what I wrote a song called "We Are One Song." I use I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor. So I teach Kundalini yoga, and I have a nonprofit business. My nonprofit business is Eco Angel Enterprises, and I've been working to bring environmental education, animal advocacy, kindness, compassion, yoga, and mindfulness to the schools for over 20 years. I've been working on that. Now we have that actually starting to manifest. We have loved that dream into reality, and I am helping with Deepak Chopra and Goldie Hawn and Dan Harris of 10% Happier. They are all, along with incredible executive producer Lee Kochner and Rob Beamer. They are all incredible producers and executive producers coming together to have all of these, to bring mindfulness to the masses as a feature film. So I'm helping with that with social media. And I'm also, as things progressed and grew, and like I said, this is the Council of Kindness bringing me, as the angels said, if I believe, I will achieve. If I believe, you will receive, you will achieve. As I said in the last interview that we did.
That's exactly right. And
That's
that's
what
where you help remind us. Now, I do want to go back to global kindness.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course, that's exactly what I want, how I want to participate. What would I be doing? How do people participate with global kindness?
Well, they can use the hashtag global kindness just in their post. It's as simple as that. You can use the hashtag global kindness. If you follow me on social media, I am Mindful Media Mom. And so if you see my posts on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, you can retweet, you can repost. And I appreciate anything that you do. All of my posts are about focusing on the good things happening in the world, because Wayne Dyer has said, when we focus on what we focus on, expands and grows. And he's made it very clear to me that the power of intention is what created global kindness going viral. And when he left his physical body and started, visiting and having these, I'm so blessed. I'm so incredibly honored to be able to be a messenger for him.
Yes.
Because, and he said, and when I was like, why me? Why are you choosing me? And he said, this is why so many people don't get messages, because you don't think you're worthy of them. There is no hierarchy. You guys have it all wrong. There are no hierarchies. We had it all wrong while we were celebrities. This is what George Harrison said to me. I was terrified of singing in public, Sheri. And when George Harrison started coming to me and saying, you're going to bring mantras to the masses, and you're going to turn these mantras into music, and he would help me. He would tell me, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and this is going to really reach into people's hearts. He would say, get over yourself. It's not about you. It's not about you. And that's the thing. We as our human ego self say, well, why me? Why are you picking me out of, all these people?
I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. And you are all of those things. You are.
Well, I think I had to experience the experience of feeling unworthy in order to be a self-worth coach. And that's what I am, a self-worth and visibility coach.
And what
it's
an
like
important job you have. That is an important step forward for our culture.
Yeah, and it's like the law of polarity and duality. And that's another thing that they explained to me, is that you have to experience who you aren't. Sometimes you go to the extreme of who you aren't to remember who you really are. And when you remember who you really are, then you don't have to prove it to anybody anymore. But you have to, we all have to experience, even me, even because I came in awake, even though I came in wide awake, I had all my gifts intact, things could have gone a whole different way for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I could have stayed in a drug addicted. I could have gone a whole other path. I mean, there are other parallels that I could have chosen. We all get to choose. That's the most important thing that we have as humans. We're all here. This human experience, we are all divine beings having this human experience. And the only thing that needs healing on our planet right now is the illusion that we're separate, because we have come here to experience the experience or the illusion of being separate. And we have really gone to the duality and the polarity of that in such a way. That's why when we watch what's happening with Donald Trump, he is a part of this whole awakening. Even though we don't agree, we have to let go of judgment. Do you know that one person who stays in their vibration of having love in their heart and peace on their mind and kindness in their actions counterbalances 750,000 people who are in the low vibration of shame and blame and fear. So that's Dr. David Hawkins and Dr. Emoto, who did the water studies.
Yes, yes.
They are both part of the Council of Kindness also.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am just like, oh, I just have to take that in for a minute. How extraordinary and how gratifying to know that when you step out in the world as a kindness, as part of the global kindness revolution, you bring so much change. You bring it by being. And I also want to remind everyone that all the tools, I mean, there's so many tools that are there as part of what Karen offers. And that's the work. I'm going to say work because, as you said earlier on, it's taking responsibility. Because if you take responsibility, then we can respond. But if we blame and shame other people, as we've been blamed and shamed, it doesn't change, right?
If we can have compassion for people who are, even when they're being very, very much the extreme of who they are not, and we can see the illusion, Leela, if we can see the illusion, if we can see Maya, if we can see it's been through every fine religion, every ancient text, it's explained to us. And if we can let go and just remember that only love is real and stay in that vibration, I use that hashtag only love is real. And, when you use the tools, like you said, and my strongest tool is only love is real. I ask in that moment, as soon as something, just like what happened in London, I say, what the heck? Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah.
And I ask my angels, and they say instantly, stay in the love, stay in the love.
Stay in the love, stay in the
stay
love.
in the love. Yeah. Mind your own vibration. Mind your own vibration.
Beautiful, 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 beautifully expressed.
And that's what Global Kindness Revolution is. And every person who becomes part of the solution becomes not part of the problem. So when you're focusing on global kindness going viral, puppy love revolution going viral, global peace united, then you are keeping your focus on what's going to expand. And that is how this is going to change our world.
Yes, and change yourself.
It's inner peace for world peace.
Inner peace for world peace.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Before we go, can I sing a little song for everybody?
Of course.
It's called We Are One Song.
Good.
As I said, I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor, so mantras are sound vibrations that we use that are Sanskrit. This is Hindu that I translated into English, and I teach this to children. I teach yoga to children, and my nonprofit organization is dedicated to raising the levels of joy, love, kindness, and peace for the entire planet. And I do that through games. I just did my first coloring book series. And so you actually, when you get the coloring book, it's you get the song, my song, Global Kindness Going Viral. So you can also go to, it's globalkindnesstv.org/color. And when you get the coloring book, it's inspiring children and empowering families through art, mindfulness, music, and charity, because I have 3 different charities in the back of the book. And I encourage you to, as a family, do a lemonade stand or a bake sale. Go and find a place where you can be of service, where you can be as a family. I feel like what's missing in our families that I'm seeing, because I have a lot of friends who are busy, you don't sit down and color with your kids. You don't sit down and sing a song. You know,
Right.
They got their headphones on. They're on their phone. They're just looking at they're like this, you know?
Yes.
And so I want to create apps for families to bring families together. I want to create more board games so parents can play with their kids. And when they have time, learn how to do mindful exercises together. And so anyway, this song that I wrote is called We Are One Song. And it's the universe, right? Universe, as Wayne pointed out, the uni means one, verse means song. And aham prema means I am love. Twaam prema means you are love. And Va'am Prema means we are love.
Beautiful.
And then I used the Gita is considered the song of God. It's been written. And so to me, that is the song. So it's Va'am Gita. So the song is We Are One Song. Va'am Gita means we are one song.
We are one song.
So let's just do a nice, So let's just do a nice little ocean breath. So we breathe in through our nose very slowly. Feel the belly rise. And breathe out through the nose, making kind of a swishy sound like we're at the ocean. And breathe in through the nose. And out. So let the words just wash over you and remind you that we are all in this together. That we're all in this human experience together, and that we all have different harmonies that we bring to this beautiful universe, the one song. Aham prema, I am only love. Twaam prema, you are only love. Va'am prema, we are only love. Va'am Gita, we are all one song. And as we go through our day, we take the time to say, Aham prema, Twaam prema, Va'am prema, Va'am Gita. We are one song. We are all one song. We are one song. So let's get along. We are one song. So let's sing this song. We are one song. We are one song. We are one song.
Beautiful.
That was the edited version, and the next coloring book series will be with the full version of that song.
Oh.
And that will be to help the mindfulness movement. That will be to help the peace, prosperity and peace, which we didn't get into, but I'm also the director of media for the prosperityandpeace.org. And that is, we're going to bring 196 live peace events on September 21st, 2017. And I will be live streaming all of that for the whole week of Global Peace Week. And so we're going to be bringing to 196 nations more prosperity, more peace, and more love. We're going to be helping to solve 11 of the 17 global goals, working with the United Nations.
Great.
I'm just so honored to be a voice for the voiceless, because think about my story and where I had suffered in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And any person who's listening to this, I want you to just search your heart and realize that our story is the same. It may have different twists and turns, but our story is the same. We are one song. We are all in this together.
If you liked this recording and benefited from it, please, for heaven's sake, share it with your friends. If you loved it and want to hear more, go to theglitchmovie.com/how to connect with angels, where you can listen and subscribe. Thank you so much.